Hello and welcome to the channel, and welcome to another LSB film podcast with me, your host Chris with a K. I hope everyone's well. Just days after securing a not guilty verdict at a highly controversial court case, Dale Vincent returns to the show to discuss what really happened inside that courtroom, the obstacles that he says were placed in his path, and why he believes the verdict is about more than just one man walking free. From allegations of judicial bias and denied evidence to the growing movement challenging authority, institutional trust and government narratives, Dale shares his perspective on the trial, the legal battles that still lie ahead, and he believes the recent victories are only the beginning of a much larger fight. So, without further ado, let's introduce the boss man. Welcome to the show, Dale Vincent.
Are you concerned about all this corruption being rebranded as conspiracy theory? Well, don't you worry. Sit back and relax and join in the conversation with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
So, a man who really doesn't need any introduction on this channel, bloody Mike, the marvellous... the boss man, that is Dale Vincent. Hey, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me, mate.
My pleasure. So let's talk. For those who aren't aware of what's going on, I'm sure Dale will give a quick filler in, but you can catch our previous podcasts because we don't want to stay too much in the past, more about the victory that is. So I shall hand the floor over to you, Dale.
Yes, thank you, kind sir. So we were just successful on the 8th of June. I was found not guilty of assaulting PC Simon Tops, 693 of Avon and Somerset Constabulary, by a jury of my peers, even though I may add that it's my opinion and everybody's opinion that was present that the judge done everything in his power to move the jury's thinking process towards me being guilty of assault. He, for example, said that the arrest was unlawful. He wouldn't allow me a defence. He wouldn't allow me to give an open statement. He wouldn't allow me to submit eyewitnesses. He wouldn't allow me to submit expert testimony. So considering everything was up against us, we still brought the victory home. Yay.
Do you think that perhaps, and congratulations by the way, because that's like I said before we started to record, we needed a victory, and I'm so happy that it was yours. Do you think the resistance that you just talked about, do you think that in some ways may have helped towards, because I know that if I was sitting in a juror's thing and I was witnessing the judge saying, or whoever is saying, no, we're not, no, you can't allow that, no, can't allow this, I'd be thinking, what are they trying to hide? And then that would make me think, well, perhaps he is telling something.
I think in this case, most definitely so, because there were so many things. I've just given you an example of a handful. And you know, I don't have my notes in front of me, but there were many things that the judge wouldn't allow. However, I have been in a previous case where it was a similar scenario where the judge wouldn't allow me to submit anything, and the jury found me guilty of being in possession of 2 grams of cannabis, even though I hold a CAN card.
2 grams.
So 2 grams,
not ounces, not kilos,
no,
grams.
Grams, and
My
you know,
it's not even an eighth.
For those heavy smokers amongst us, you know, I can easily put 2 grams in one joint. And they found me guilty, even though I have a CAN card, and they found me £2,000. Now that was a similar scenario where I wasn't entitled to submit anything. However, I think this one, so I think I needed that case, Chris, because it taught me you should never take a jury for granted, you know, and I did take that jury for granted. So this one, I went in with a lot more
respect.
Yes, and respect for the jury, yes, most definitely.
Well, I think you're bang on the money. You know, I can't remember who the quote was or whether it's just like a generic quote, but success is built on a mountain of failures. Nobody starts from zero to success. There's lots of failures on the way, but a lot of people just tend to give up after the first failure. But it's people like you, people with a backbone and a big pair of bollocks, that yeah, marvelous stuff.
Thank you.
So what's the general vibe around you and your mates then? How much have you had to drink? Or are you a drinker? Do you drink?
Yes, I do. So I'm currently on a Operation Minty, I'm calling it. One of my friends recently just passed away. He
Oh,
was
I'm
he
sorry
was
to hear
more than a
that.
brother to me. Yes, it's tragic, mate. Well, when he died, apparently, it was the most that anybody has ever died in the history of overdoses. We've just hit a limit, and my brother Gareth was amongst them. So what I've done is so I had a contract before he died, and if he abided by that contract, he'd still be with us today. So he's now gone. So I'm fulfilling that contract where I'm entitled to 3 R&R periods over the next 12 months. And I've already had 2 of them. So this weekend, I didn't drink, but I got stoned as shit.
So
Ah,
what's R&R for?
rest and recovery.
Okay. Well, mate, I think it's fairly well fucking deserved.
Well, yes, but there's still some work to do now, you know. Just because we've had a small I say small, it's massive. But there's still a lot of work to do. So a lot of legal expertise have reached out to me now, and they want to help to see this thing through, which means the legal team have expanded, which is always great to have more men in the platoon, as it were. And these individuals. We've just had Terry from the realm of England. I don't know whether you're familiar, but he's a very knowledgeable dude. So we've got different individuals now attacking this. Uh, it's more or less admin now. So we've made criminal complaints against the judge, which was fairly easy because on the Wednesday of the trial, the judge violated my rights. He claimed that Dr. Asim Malhotra, Andrew Bridgen, Steve Forsyth, who's a former Royal Marine, and Mark Sexton, retired police constable, he deemed these individuals as extremist fringe protesters, for example. So he said that these guys had no place given expert testimony in the courtroom, which is obviously a massive violation of my rights. So
And
to
it's
that
isn't
end,
that also a huge slur to those people?
well, I mean, Dr. Asim Malhotra, he's world renowned, and he last week, so the judge gave that order on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, Dr. Asim was giving his expert testimony in America and claiming how these jabs now are linked to
Turbo
turbo
C's and stuff, yeah.
C's. Apologies, Chris. Maybe you
Sorry.
want to blur that out. Yes,
No,
but
sorry. It's out there, isn't it?
um, so he's not. Well, it is now. Yes, my thinking process is still from years ago. Um, but we are definitely getting there. I think a lot less people are getting these medications or deceived as medications,
The
which is
alphabet
ultimately,
disease.
and we're not getting children done as much. The amount of DMs that I get and people thanking me, saying that they nearly had their kid done, and then they watch content of mine and it stopped them. It's heartwarming stuff, Chris.
No, I have to agree with you there. You go on Facebook because you're always looking for content, but you go on Facebook. That's my excuse, by the way. Look, it's my job. I'm trying to find. But and you look at the like for these. Oh, get your flu, get your you know what, and then the comments are just gold. You know,
Yes, now they are. It
it's
wasn't a couple of years ago, but
no,
now you are correct. They are gold.
and so I don't know where those having enslaved you, can go from there. I don't know. Now, before we get back into our show, a quick word from our sponsors. If you've ever had that unexpected knock at the door from police, a visit from bailiffs, or received a legal threat without warning, you'll know just how quickly confusion and fear can set in, and that's where Willoughby Genius Mark II comes in. Built on more than 750,000 legal entries and across 50 plus countries, it provides immediate legal guidance when you need answers fast. No waiting for appointments, no eye-watering hourly fees. Just direct access to the relevant legal information right when you need it. It helps to verify information, explains your options, guides you through legal situations with clarity and precision. Legal technology is evolving rapidly, and those who understand it will be better equipped. Now, before we jump back into the show, click in the link below, use LSB Pro for £5 off of your first month's premium. Right, let's get back into it. They can't get the trust back.
I believe now it's done. I believe, even if we don't see it, I believe we're going to see it in our lifetimes, but even if we don't, the offspring, the next generation are going to grow up and they're going to know the truth, whether this was neglect and they just wasn't good at their job, then it's corporate manslaughter. That's best case scenario for them, or obviously worst case scenario for them. These guys have been messing around in biological warfare, as per the affidavit of Dr. Francis Boyle. And now it's time to
take us back to 1940, whatever year it was.
1944 to 1945. Yeah. Roger Dodger.
See, I suppose our next biggest issue at the moment is the guise of protecting the children from not being able to go online. But really, what's it? Oh, they're such conniving bastards. That's the narrative, isn't it? Get kids off under 16 off online. They can't go on there. But really what it is everyone else has to prove that they're not 16. So you have to upload your ID or whatever, the biometrics or whatever they want to prove that you're old enough. So it's just another way again of getting us to do the digital ID.
Yes, I think they'll try many scenarios, but ultimately now I think they're going to fail. I think there's too many people awake. There's just too many of us, Again, a couple of years ago, I was very paranoid. I thought we were going to end up communist Wales, communist England, for example. But now I believe it's going to be the Great Awakening, and no matter what these guys do, there's going to be a time where these guys are not able to walk down the street. I mean, you've probably seen yourself, Chris. There's loads of clips of these individuals that were messing around with the vaccines. They get caught in airports and they're out for lunch with their
tube stations.
And people are just coming up to them and, they're making videos attacking them, verbally attacking them. And rightfully so, because these guys, we have a lot of questions that require answering, don't we?
100%. Well, I'm always saying it. Unless people are going to be concerned for their actions and not hiding behind the safety of their role, when they actually start to feel that accountability, when it starts to become tangible, only then are you going to see any kind of change, I think. So, like they did in Nepal, was it Nepal, where they got the politicians, they were throwing off the cliffs and they were throwing them in the river. And that's drastic, but you, if I was a politician and I was watching that on the news or online, that would kind of make me think, right, well, that could come here. So, I don't know.
Most definitely.
We need to lose the fear. They need to gain it. We need to give it back to them. That's the solution, isn't it? For years, decades.
In charge, personally.
Say again?
I know it's not everybody's thinking process, but I do think that the military are in charge of everything.
Do you?
I mean,
so what, like the white hats?
Like the white hats, yes.
And Q and all that kind of.
All that kind of stuff, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Come on. Let me pick your brain on that then, because I get Mark Taylor in my ear who loves all that. And and I don't dislike it. I just don't know. With being
I think it's difficult for us to see because we went through this in 1944. Okay, they went through the Nuremberg trials. Now here we are, sometime later, doing the exact same scenario. I mean, it's a slightly different tactic, but ultimately, it's the
it
new
was like
world
yeah,
order.
it's everything though, isn't it? We had the Spanish flu, then we had the COVIDs, and then we had it's all repeats, it all regurgitates.
But I believe this time, what the military's main objective is to truly win the hearts and minds of the people. And the way Ricardo Borsi explains that is the military don't do that by going and putting guns in the bad guys' faces.
But when you say military, are we talking English military? Are we talking American military? Are we talking like a world military?
So the military is obviously, it's a huge complex. So you have aspects of the military that are special forces. Now, I believe that these special forces are pulling the strings, as it were, to navigate us in order for us to come to the conclusion ourselves, actually, we've been duped. And I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it all the time. I'm seeing it in the news. I'm seeing it on social media. Everything I see, it's not, black and white soldiers putting gats in faces. I believe they drop in red pills. They're gently nudging the people to come to the conclusion themselves. And I think, honestly, whoever is in charge of this operation, they are geniuses. That's what I personally believe.
See, I know somebody who vehemently thinks that Trump is technically the Antichrist.
Yeah, and I've seen. I don't think so.
No, I don't bloody know what to think.
It's well, this is where they've got us. They've got us in a place where we don't know what the hell's going on, but
Chaos.
we don't know, nor did the enemy know. You know?
Yeah. Who would you say the enemy is? Because I think, like, when they talk about globalists are all narcissistic, and once they're sorted with us, they'll just start attacking each other because they've got no one else to attack. However this pans out, if they were just left, in my opinion, to their devices, they would ultimately self-destruct. They would destroy themselves just through their greed and through their narcissism and through their... But who do you think they are?
George Soros, Klaus Schwab, and gang and co. I think if we know their names, they're not really pulling the strings, but I believe it's these families because they've gained such incredible wealth through the oil industry and taking over all of the industrial complex that they've really made it and with the banking, the the fiat currency banking system. I believe they've just become so powerful, these families, that, and again, like you said, they, unlike soldiers, right, they don't have passion for their fellow man. So they don't really care if the lower echelons are getting caught up in the trouble and the noise. So I believe that we've still got a lot to see. We've still got a lot to get through.
Absolutely. And can I just throw a thing in there as well? Because we've been talking about wealth and how they don't care about stuff. I just want to say, and this is my public statement for everyone, you can soundbite this if you want, but Elon Musk, if you now own 1 trillion, what is it, 1.1 trillion pounds, and there's still such a thing as world hunger, you're not a trillionaire, you're a cunt. Okay, I just wanted to get that out of that. Sorry. Because if somebody has so much wealth that they could literally buy the world 3 times over, he can afford to fix all the... Do you know what I mean?
But then
I
again,
don't.
I don't know whether that's part of the game now that we're seeing. So people are registering because I believe that Elon was switched personally. He used to be into transhumanism, and now it seems he's jumped down off that pedestal. So I don't know whether that's him coming to the conclusion, well, maybe I shouldn't be a satanic fuck. I personally believe that he's been one place changed. Now, again, do we know that for sure down at the bottom of the pyramid? Obviously not. But I think to myself,
Do you think
why
he's
would
been
we do
replaced,
it?
or do you just think he's been corrupted?
Well, when you say corrupted, do you mean not blackmail, but whitemail?
I just mean the people that we don't know about, the very few families that really orchestrate everything. They have, I imagine, their hands on anything they want. So they're the ones who say, right, okay, do this. You can have whatever you want. They say Andrew Bridgen says that he was offered anything he wanted to just go away. So has he been swapped, or has he just been corrupted? That's what I mean.
Well, I believe that he was already corrupted when he was the transhumanism era, personally.
Which
I
would make
believe he's
sense.
been, I believe he's either been swapped or whitemailed, which is essentially the same thing for us. We don't care as long as his intentions are now good, you know. And again, if these individuals have been whitewashed and they require discipline when we get to the end, well, so be it. You know, people, this is important as well, Chris. People, right? For example, I've had it recently where I'm on the 20th of June, I'm doing a seminar, and one of my mates isn't coming because another individual's coming and they don't like each other's politics. But that's their aim, troops, is to get me and you know, it doesn't matter. Listen, I personally like Trump. Okay. Now,
I
if
find
we
him
get to
very
the end,
entertaining.
well, yes, but what we shouldn't allow, Chris, is we shouldn't allow it for me and you to come on a podcast like this and have a big boy discussion. We shouldn't hate each other
Oh no.
just because you like Dr. Francis Boyle and I like Dr. Asim Malhotra, for example. You know, we should be able to come to the table and debate.
And discuss
Like,
theories.
yes. And if
Absolutely.
we get to the end of the line
Even
and
if
it
it does
turns
make me
out,
look like a crazy,
hey,
who
I was
cares? And now I just need that and the bloody glasses now. Look, and I'm away. Hey.
yay!
My
Yeah,
daughter's
so
going to
we
be, why are
shouldn't
you
allow
wearing my
we shouldn't
glasses?
allow it to come in between us, troops.
Absolutely, yeah. I did look. I just look at the whole thing as a show. Whether it's a real show or whether it's a fake show, it's just a show. That's why they call it news stories. On the news stories today, because it's fiction. You know, the things that happen, like the people that get stabbed or the people that succumb to these things, I'm not saying they're not real, much like 9/11. You know, there was many people that died in that, and it was horrific. That was very real, but the narrative behind it, well, that was where the fakery was.
I believe so, yes.
And I think that's the
Unfortunately,
same with a lot of what we're seeing at the moment.
I think people struggle to fathom how they could create such narratives like 9/11, like you just mentioned. But after I've witnessed everything through COVID now, I question literally everything because these guys are so powerful, Chris. And it's a little bit of all the conditioning that we've had or our grandparents had, ultimately passing it down the food chain to your dad, to yourself, and then here we are next minute teaching it to our kids,
Yeah, but
thinking it's okay.
you would think the horrific details that have emerged from, like, the Epstein list, which is, like I said, I've got a podcast after this one, and there's links to that. You know, I can't remember the name of the documentary, and I don't even want to say it because it might bring up a red flag. But where you've got Hillary Clinton and you've got that young girl who's been absolutely horrifically,
Oh, I know what you're on
and
about.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what people can't get their heads around. But it's those people that are doing everything else. So if they could just get their head around that, I don't know. It is a lot. Ignorance is truly
It's
bliss.
a lot, mate. It's a lot, yes. But that kind of stuff, well, it's also, the film Monsters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's do you know what? I remember watching that film when I was a kid and thinking to myself, how mental somebody thought of this. And then when you put it into perspective, that's actually creating, I'm not going to say the word because, as
Mm-hmm.
you said, red flags. Um, but it's pretty horrific stuff, guys. And again, we have the Epstein files now. I mean, good luck on your next podcast because I know even talking about these things can really,
Good luck on this one then.
well, they can do damage, can't they, It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant subject matter, troops, but we have to talk about it to some extent. Otherwise, unfortunately, we're never going to get rid of these problems, and they are serious problems, and they do belong to me and you because when you're talking about the children. But I shared something yesterday on my social media how they've just found now an additional 140,000 kids. How are you losing 140,000 kids? People don't realize that millions of kids are going missing every year, see? Millions.
See, but I do have to throw a caveat in there because I also say that. But a lot of the kids that are reportedly missing do turn up within the first 24 hours.
Well, that's good, but we're still
But there's
missing
still a huge
millions.
problem, yeah.
Yes, yes, of course. We're still missing millions. And so I don't know whether you've seen the film The Sound of Freedom. Well, that film claims that the criminal syndicate is the fastest growing criminal syndicate that ever was, on average 5,000% annually. And apparently now this year, that's gone down. So we've arguably, for the first time in human history, or for the first time in a long time, changed that. Now, there was Operation Childflix. Childflix was having 2 million users every month. So that tells you how big of a problem we have, 2 million users a month. Now, when they busted that, they were having arrests in Australia, America, and UK simultaneously. Now, the police, I can vouch, they can't even pass a bloody crime reference number from South Wales Police to the Metropolitan Police. So that shows you the lack of professionalism within the police. So if it's not the police doing it, who is doing it? It's got to be the military. How are you coordinating an attack in Australia, America, and the UK simultaneously? It's got to be the guys in green, but it's got to be the top dogs, in my personal opinion. And I don't think that
What do
it's.
people at home watching this? Let me know what you think in the comments because I really don't know. I'd love to think that there's this underlying erotic plot which is going to save us all. And I am optimistic long term for humanity genuinely. I think there's probably going to be quite a lot of shit to sift through first, but I just don't know.
Well, I can tell you because I've been, as you can see by my flag in the background, a military man. We never give the enemy away our position. We always approach, and if you don't have, if you give away your
Strategy.
position. Yes, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's forgive me. It's
That's all right.
I've lost it. It'll come back in a moment. But um, if you give away your position, you're potentially, you come into a whole world of problems. And
Sabotaging yourself.
I believe that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing the military, they're maneuvering in the shadows, but they're giving us enough pieces to confirm that there is a military strategy in place. Personally, that's what I believe.
No, that's good.
The element of surprise, that's what we need. Always have the element of surprise.
Yeah, I'd go with that. I just want to see a little bit more victories on like the world stage. Obviously, we're getting decent ones from people like your good self, legend. But I just want to see some pockets of. Do you know what I mean? Just to keep morale a bit high, or a bit higher than where it is now. Because at the moment, I think people are fed up. I think even like my viewing figures, people are fed. They know the problems. They know what the issues are. We just want to start, even myself included. We just want a bit of fucking optimism. We just want a bit of yeah. So
Well,
yeah.
the best way to do it, sirs, ma'ams, is unfortunately, this is why I believe the military are doing things the way that the way that they're doing them, because it's not good enough for me and you to, one day log onto YouTube and to see a victory. We need to get out there. We need to be a part of this movement. This is what I believe is happening at the moment. They're allowing people to break so much that people are saying to themselves, right, I need change. We need change. What are we going to do about it? Because it's no good for us to be praying that Trump is going to come and save us. Because again, where are we going to be in another 90 years' time? Potentially in this exact same scenario. So this is the reason for this whole operation, I believe, is so people like me and you get sick and tired, and we say to ourselves, right, I've seen this little Welsh guy. He just had one victory in court. He's back in court on the 26th of June. I'm going to go and watch him. I'm going to go and sit in the public gallery with my notebook and pen. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to fact check. And then it'll allow you to challenge your council tax. You'll be able to say, well, Dale was able to successfully submit the affidavit of Dr. Francis Paul to the judge, and it wasn't rebutted. So I'm now going to do that with my council because I don't want to fund terrorism. Because let's face it, sirs, ma'ams, the reason how they've got all this money in order to put 5 billion doses into 3 billion people was through mine and your hard work. They taxed us
Blood,
into
sweat,
oblivion.
equity.
They taxed us into oblivion for the last 100 years, and it just gave them monumental power through money or fiat currency. And then they've been able to, do everything that they've done over the last couple of years. But realistically, me and you should have noticed that happening, and we should have been out there. I appreciate not everybody likes to protest. Don't protest. Go to the police station as I did. It's like a fast forward in protesting. Instead of protesting, hoping people are
Well,
going to
to be
listen.
fair, I think to give people credit, now it's a lot easier to speak out because there's so much corruption. There are more people waking up. It's not quite as a risk, maybe. But like when you look at
No,
David Icke, like he's got a bloody cult following now. But early days, he was ridiculed, and they took the piss out of him. And so what I'm saying is, there have always been people saying, "Are you seeing this?" And then
there
people
has.
going, and people just going, "Oh, fuck off! I'm watching EastEnders."
Yes.
There has always been people out there doing what you're doing, but it's only now because there's so much corruption and so much more people becoming aware of that corruption that it's now easier for us to do it, if that makes sense. I might just be waffling
I
on a load
agree.
of old.
People have been on this for a long, long time, haven't they? A long, long time. I used to think that guy was bonkers. And they've just released the UFO and the UAP stuff. And apparently the lizard people are not so mental anymore.
I was going to say
So
it's not so out of this world, but
yeah, well,
or are
yeah.
they? Or is it Middle Earth?
Who knows, mate? Who knows?
Who
I
knows?
gotta be honest. For me, for example, I don't like to take on too much information. So people will offer me, "Oh, Vince, have you seen this?" And I kindly decline because I have all the evidence that I need to know our government are at this moment, as I've said, best case scenario.
Anti-human.
Well, maybe. I mean, yeah, yes. I don't
So
think humans could be this evil without persuasion from something. Who knows
there
where?
has to be something missing from somebody.
God is what's missing from us, mate.
And
We're all
willpower,
disconnected
I
from
guess,
God.
yeah. Well, yeah, I totally agree with you. That's people say, "Oh, God, it's nothing but the cause of wars," but that is used as the excuse. But it's not. It's greed, it's money, and religion is the excuse. But what can you do when you live in a satanic world? So let's talk about did you say the 26th of June, your next court
Court
appearance?
case, yes. So
And
this is to do with I lost my house. I paid the bank with a promissory note. Now the golden rule is you have to keep the receipt. When I went to court, they asked for the receipt. I said, "Mom, I don't have it anymore. I've lost it." And unfortunately, I was expecting them to be sympathetic because, again, this is a
babe.
learning. Well, I know. However, I have found a solicitor that wants to remain anonymous for obvious reasons. When a promissory note is sold to a trust, it is near enough impossible to find. I know somebody that can find them when they've been sold to the trust. So we now have evidence that the promissory note lives and was sold on by the banks after I give it to them. So I have an individual that's helping me with my house case. His name is Matt. He has already created case law before, and he states that he's not seen a stronger case than mine.
Oh,
So I'm
bloody
very
best of
optimistic.
yeah.
I'm
Best
very
of
optimistic about this
best of
case.
British luck to you, sir.
Thank you, kind sir. Thank you.
No, Britain is a colonial thing. Best of Welsh wishes to you, sir. There you go. Oh dear. So yeah, that sounds quite promising.
So but
I
what happened
suppose.
was, apologies, Sergeant Geraint Rees came to my house, 4477 from South Wales Police. Now, I'd already submitted him misconducting himself on 3 occasions. So he entered my house with the bailiffs and he put hands on me. Thank God this Putin was locked in that cage. Otherwise, it would have been a bloodbath. But he put hands on me. Apparently, I twatted him. I can't really remember. I blanked out. But so my defense is going to be that was self-defense because we've got the affidavit of Dr. Francis Boyle that's been successfully submitted to South Wales Police, 2600047716, crime reference number. Sergeant Geraint Rees, on the 23rd of the 4th, 2025, ignored that and on 2 separate occasions denied the fake fraudulent warrant that my local quarry used to remove my community members in order to obtain 10 million tons of land. So we've got them 3 things on Sergeant Geraint Rees, and I'm very much looking forward to getting you in that fucking cross-examining station, my friend, because you are not fit for the uniform. So that's going to be it's going to be a big learning curve, sirs, man. So the 26th of June is only going to be the first trial. Okay, follow me, Vin7027. I always give as much update as I can about the cases because I like people to come to the cases.
And where is this
When
one?
we've got many. So this one is in Merthyr Magistrates. Obviously, we'll have to escalate it to the Crown in order to get a jury. But I will not be doing it in Merthyr Crown. I'm going to hopefully get it into Cardiff Crown because I didn't have a good experience in Merthyr Crown before. That's where I lost my 2 grams of weed case.
See, no, see, technically, can't you do that via pen and paper?
Do what? Sorry.
Like, can you not escalate it to Crown Court? Because the paperwork is really the court, isn't it? What standing in the dock and all that's just the show. That's the ritual. The paperwork is the court. So do you have to go to the magistrates to do it, or can you fight it pen and paper?
You probably could fight it pen and paper, my friend.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It gives you a better. I think you have a better position if you're able to do that.
So there are, I'm sure you're aware, Chris, there's many ways to skin this cat. And I went to all the cases for my last court case. So I mean, it's only a 20-minute drive from me, mate. You know, it'll take me 20 minutes to write an email out, kind of thing. So
Fair enough.
I totally appreciate what you're saying, though, because you are right. You are most definitely right. But I'm just gonna go with the old-fashioned turn up, and because what I like to do, see, is the day prior to court, I will submit, for example, the emergency writ, the affidavit of Dr. Francis Boyle, all of this medical literature. We have cardiovascular reports proving that the spike protein replicating in the body is cardiotoxic and a neurotoxin, right? So I like to submit them to the courts, and then when I have a judge in front of me, I like to put them on notice. Again, a lot of people think it's silly to put the judge on notice, but so I address these guys like they're military officers. So I'm always polite. You know what I mean? And as long as you're not calling him a dickhead or, a corrupted.
You remain in honour.
Yes, you have to. Even when these guys are violating your rights. Because I've been in a courtroom before. It was the 2 grams of weed. And I said, oh, this system is corrupted. And the judge said, he stopped and he said, did you just call me corrupted, Mr. Vincent? Now I know if I'd have said yes, I'd have been held in contempt of court because they don't like that kind of stuff. So you have to tread very, very carefully because the wrong word can get you locked up. But I'm used to speaking to military officers. I like a challenge, and because I believe that all of these individuals, not some of them, I believe every single individual that's turned a blind eye to this, affidavits and the emergency writs and all these kind of stuff, I believe that they will all be held to account. So I like to do it personally.
Well, I look forward to that day.
But you are right.
I look forward to that day. See, but then I admire people like you. I admire people like Bob Sayes. I admire people like Mark Taylor, Zach, because you've just got this. And I'm sure that there is worry, and I'm sure there is, but you hide it well. But you just come across as. And I know that Bob, he looks forward. He looks forward to going into court because he sees it as a game. He's like, right, let's see what fun we can have with this one. And that's where people need to be, because only then can you laugh at it and see. But it takes some doing. I'm nowhere near that stage. Yeah.
Well, we're all going through this spiritual journey. We're all on different levels, and it's okay, troops. It doesn't matter as long as you're not in a position like the police in the military, and you were ignoring this. Because again, then I'm sorry. It's unfucking lucky. You are complicit in the crime. But for everybody else that's not a soldier or a police officer, I appreciate that this is a gnarly job. But what are we going to do, sirs, ma'ams? Are we really going to allow the next generation to live in this slave system? I want my offspring to live in a world like I thought like the chances I had in Wales. The world was.
Think about it. I think every generation for however many decades my kids have got less freedom than what you and I had. We've got less freedom than what our mum and dad had. They've got less freedom than what their mum and dad had. So it's been a real slow cruel of ripping up our freedoms, and I think we're now at the crutch point because there's not a huge amount left to give up. Unless it's literally just build your own cell. So something has got to give.
Don't go to work.
So I've just
Yeah.
got, yeah. But I don't know when. I'd like to see the conclusion soon.
Well, I don't think it's going to be much longer, personally. I mean, everything is looking more positive now on the world stage. I mean, I appreciate it's still shit in Britain. There's moms, I get that, and us being British. There's a lawyer, I forget her name, but she claims that because it was the English common law that ruled the world, she reckons that the people of England are actually the worst off because they've been subject to this legal system the longest. So I appreciate it's not great for us, being British over here, right next to the head of the cabal, I like to call it. But did you see that now? Apparently, right, the City of London ruled the maritime insurance, right? Now, after
The City of
the
London rules
Iran.
anything financial.
Well, that was the case, but not anymore. And apparently, that's what the UFC, I know, that's what the UFC fight in the lawn, the Freedom 250 was about, because they removed the Jolly Roger feature off the flag around it. And I've just shared a photo of that. And the guy's got a crypto t-shirt on. I know people are not fully on board with crypto yet, but you will be, sirs, ma'ams, and that is the first step in the right direction for us to become sovereign again. Because when
Can't
we
we
are
just go back to
collecting,
gold?
well, gold as well, also, yes, gold as well, also. But the thing is, gold is intangible, like crypto. For example, if I have a business and I want to send 10,000 sterling to China or Africa, can you imagine doing that in blocks of gold? As opposed to crypto, I can send it now with Ripple's XRP like that in
Providing you've got a
seconds.
bloody internet connection, eh?
Well, again, that's so. I can see why there are many people that don't like the idea, but you have to think of it, sirs, mums. It's the same as your online banking. You can't use your online banking unless you've got the internet. So, I mean, I appreciate that people are, and again, this is because in this moment in time, we're currently in the age of disinformation. But you have to remember, we already use this technology. We already
Yeah, but
have.
but although it's becoming increasingly more difficult, but you still have the option of going to the cash machine and getting some money out.
Well, we do for now. We do for now. Now, CDBCs would eliminate that. However, Trump's put in executive orders saying that there's not going to be any CDBCs for the next 4 years. And that gives the crypto industry the next 4 years to really boom. So, I mean, crypto is not saying that we're not going to use precious metals. Crypto is not saying we're going to get rid of monies. Crypto is just the people's CDBC. Again, my opinion.
No, I get it. I just think, like you say, a lot of people, me including myself, are still very critical about crypto and Bitcoin, and we know that
Are
Bitcoin
you
isn't
aware
actually
of,
Bitcoin; it's a government Bitcoin that everyone buys into now.
I forget that, NFTs. Are you aware of NFTs?
As in the non.
Fungible token, yes. So with that technology, right? Let's say, for example, that you've got an artist and he's a singer. If I want to make it in the music industry and I want to sell my albums, I
Yeah.
get a tiny, tiny fraction
Or a
of that
guitarist.
monies. Oh, yeah. But if I was to sell, and I think it was Terry Crews, a Canadian rapper, he sold his album and he done it via NFT and he sold them for $1. Now, if you want to go and buy them albums, some people are selling them for 20 grand, which means it's the future because the artist, he gets all the money for his hard work, and the number one fans that are in the queue and they buy the product. Some people bought 20 albums, for example. So you keep one for yourself, you sell 19, I mean, personally, I think that is the future. You can also sell your property. You can sell a house and you can do it via NFT. So it cuts out all the mortgage advisors, middlemen, because when you buy and sell property, there's a whole list of things that you got to do. Now you can just do it via NFT. So it's bringing sovereignty back to the people down at the bottom of the food chain. So I believe this technology, it isn't going away. I do believe it's the future of money and finance. And I believe it's going to bring sovereignty back because, right, people don't see it. If we had the redistribution of wealth, right, for example, if I was a billionaire, there'd be nobody in my hometown living on the streets because I'm a nice guy and I'm not a greedy shit, right? The reason that we have poverty is because we have too many greedy shits with all this accumulation of wealth. So when the redistribution of wealth happens, it's going to be marvelous for the entire spectrum of the world. That's what I believe. And I can't believe it hasn't happened yet. Chris, I wake up every morning thinking, this is the day.
One
It hasn't
day.
happened yet, but again, I
It
also
has, just
appreciate,
not on this timeline.
well, again, I'm not so
Somewhere,
sure about that.
somewhere in
Yes.
another.
I hope it's coming, and I believe that it is coming.
No, I do. And
I'm still very optimistic.
yeah, me too, mate. And I think that's a nice place to end it. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best for your court case. I will make sure this goes out before then. This will be like a Wednesday
Thank you,
one,
Vincent.
because I'm up until July for my Sunday ones. And so, yeah, and a huge congratulations and well done for everything that you've achieved up to this point.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you for having me on, Chris.
My
Big love to all
absolute
your audience.
My absolute pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope everyone watching has enjoyed it. Go and support Dale. Go and check him out on his links. I shall leave in the video description. And yeah, all the best. And I shall see you on the next video. Bye for now.
Thank you, Tom, sir.
Cheers, buddy. I appreciate that.